There's a certain comfort in the cold. Something just feels right about it. Like a primal awakening, I get a sharp and sudden rush of adrenaline. The cold slows everything down just enough to contrast with what really matters, to clarify what is truly heat-worthy. The cold is a blank manuscript ready to illustrate my essence, an uncluttered floor waiting for me to choreograph over it, and me, a maestro, pulling the very melody out of violins. This steel baton of peril at my demand. Pull the trigger and watch the show. Some would think it's just a cold chunk of steel, but in my hands, for me, it's special. It belonged to my pa. He gave it to me before he passed. It's an old Fitz Special, the kind of gun a banker in the Old West would use. He was always a cowboy at heart. I remember sitting through just about every Western movie over the weekends we shared together. He always pictured himself in the middle of every shootout. He had a thing for theatrics. My pa never rode a horse a day in his life, but he always had his gun. Might as well have worn the cowboy hat and sheriff badge, too. My pa was one of a kind. One of the best. A shiver shoots up my arm, and it makes my shoulder twitch, snapping me out of my delusional state. I don't know if it's the cold autumn air rolling in or if it's tonight's plans that have me on edge. Either way, as far as my tentative plans go, this gun would surely be enough. But I don't like the feel of it. Besides, I doubt Paul would approve of me using his gun like that. Still, I have to figure something out. Tonight must end with a bang. I tuck Pa's gun back in my drawer and lock it away. I stand in front of my dresser with only my shadow keeping me company. A hulking but hollowed silhouette. I stare at my reflection in the mirror and alternate focus between each eye. In my periphery, I see my jaw muscles twitching from the stress and anticipation. My nose flaring with each breath. And I swear I can see hot air lifting off me with each arrhythmic heartbeat. I need to cool down. My mind is so preoccupied. I regret that I let myself become so worked up over this. Thinking about my pa. Thinking about tonight. Thinking about her. Yes, her. It's all just so much thinking. I could think myself to death trying to find inspiration. I need to be calm. Forget inspiration. Let go of the stress. Too many mistakes can happen. Habits are more dependable. And as they say, we are our habits. Well, evidently, my habits need me to be a little colder. The sound of children running outside causes my gaze to drift. I glance out to the street below. By their cheers and screams, it would be easy to guess what day it is. They run by in their masks. A skeleton kicks up leaves as a scarecrow chases a headless mummy. It looks like mischief is abundant in this cold autumn air. I run my comb through my hair, looking back into the mirror above the dresser. I try to swallow the anxiety away. There's an unexpected knock at the bedroom door. A little voice beckons to me. It's my son, Tommy. I gave him my pa's name. He doesn't remind me much of Pa, but it's hard to make those type of assessments when they're babies. I open the door and see him standing there. His eyes stare at mine through some amalgamation of a zombie mask with a poofy clown wig. It looks like he fell into a costume pile and came out twisted. That looks awful. And then an idea sparks in my mind. A funny and deathly idea. A grimace begins to grow on my face. So awfully wonderful. I lay my hand heavily on his shoulder. The idea is still formulating in my head. I see him blankly staring at me. I smile to him. Maybe this night will be a success after all. I swear, if he had bluer eyes and darker hair, he could be my clone. His hair folds the same way as mine and everything. He's leaner than I ever was. And the darkness around his eyes is missing. He's still young, I suppose. Life hasn't beaten him down just yet. He's still optimistic. Always sees the funny side of an ugly situation. I lean closer, and I whisper in his ear. He smiles with excited delight and scampers away. He may look like me, but he's his mother's child. They're both so good at hiding secrets. Sometimes I suspect that she birthed him as a secret to herself. An impartial proctor to test my manliness. Through whatever alchemy took place, she took my essence, melted it in her cauldron, stirred it in her bewitched ingredients, and made a twisted, mangled version of me in her own image. It was all just too ironic. My pride in this life is this mutated version of myself, but I loathe myself. That wasn't his fault, but still, it will be her undoing. I stand back up and catch a long look of thought and deliberation in the mirror before a sickly sweet smell crawls through the open door, interrupting my focus. She has been preparing for our guest all day. I suppose if there's one thing a witch is good at, it's luring people in with indulgent delights. I stand there for a second more before the curiosity lures me through the door. The decor is abundant. Apples hanging on strings, fake spider webs, along with a few real spider webs, and skulls in every corner. She laid out candy apples on the table. There are bowls of toffee-covered popcorn, empty-headed pumpkins jeering out of each window with fresh wax waiting to be burned, and apples floating in buckets waiting for the dunking to begin. The house is covered in frightful delight. But still, I'm just not feeling the spirit of it all. My pa passed 2 Octobers ago now, and I've been mourning him ever since. I want tonight to be about reclaiming October as a celebration of his life. I want tonight to be for him, and I can't wait for these other silly festivities to end. I can't wait to make tonight a night to really remember. I see her standing in the kitchen. She half-heartedly smiles in my direction. Talk about being cold. I swear she's playing games with me, making the house smell so sweet, look so happy. It's all just so fake. Does she not have any idea of the struggle this causes me? The anguish this time of year and the stress of planning this evening, coupled with her apparent disdain for my affection, is overwhelming, and all she can do is coat everything in sugar like it's a remedy. Lately, she's been avoiding me too. It's like some sort of spell. She manages to be in every other room than the room I'm in. Frankly, I'm sick of it. Enough of her games. I'm gonna play a game of my own. See how she likes it. I see her in a black dress, a hat as pointy as her nose, stirring her cauldron. I cut into her path. Oh, hey, let me try that punch. She begrudgingly writes my name on a party cup and holds the ladle towards me. I dip my cup into the punch bowl, gulp it down, and fill it again, never losing her gaze. A familiar rosy ring is around her top lip. Already into the brew, I see. I guess even a witch needs help getting into the holiday spirit. I'm hoping she found it somewhere in that bottle. We all have our crux, I suppose, but it's not worth arguing over. Not now. Not today. She tries to ignore me and scuttles back to her work. After a moment of me standing there slowly, menacingly, sipping my drink, she mumbles something about needing to light the pumpkins. I toss my cup into the trash after downing the second serving. She rushes away from me into the living room to ignite the pumpkins, mocking smiles. I gotta smoke a bit before everyone gets here to relax a bit. "Oh, hey, let me grab that lighter." I grab the lighter from her, not breaking character. I try to hold back my smirk, but I feel my dimples showing. She says she needs to go check that walkway to make sure it's clear as she tries rushing through me. I already did that, dearie. She hurries past me anyways and scrambles into the bathroom, locking the door behind her. I stand outside the door laughing to myself. I won the game. I beat the witch. She sits there until I'm finished with my smoke. I get bored and start back upstairs, whistling in victory. After a moment, I hear the handle rattle. She makes sure to spray away any sign that I was there with some overly sweet scent and hurriedly returns to her party prepping. Like a mouse, returning to her mousely duties once the cat exits the alleyway. I swear I love her. I just can't stand her in the slightest. It's always a game with her. She's a good enough mother and does keep the neighbors spellbound in our favor. But all I want to do is be together, to be one. And she just wants me to be gone. That wouldn't hurt her at all, though. It would be as numb as the indecision that led us to this point. I need her to feel. I need her invested. She needs to feel how I have felt this entire time. I've suffered alone with no support from her. I can't just give in and leave. She has to share in my pain. Maybe then we can heal. Together, as one. We can be happy again. This bow tie is tighter than I remember. The buttons on my suit are a bit snugger than they used to be, too. An overstuffed secret agent is still cool, I guess. I do feel a certain power of having a secret of my own. I hear a mouse scamper in the hall. Tommy appears in front of me in the best undead clown costume I have ever seen. He asks me how he looks. Like a dead joke, perfect for the role. My horrible pun charms him. I bend down to hold him. My eyes begin to well up. I feel an inexplicable rush of pity. I have not made the most time I could have with him, and I know I'm running on thin favor with him. I can't let that happen any longer. I've been too focused and confined by the crushing love for his mother, and she has done nothing but twist him against my influence. I feel like she has stolen my love from him, but no more. I know it's coming. I smile at him, hug him, and tell him to go help his mother. I stand back up, brush myself off, and try to shake away any doubt. She has her secrets, but she doesn't know what I know. There is a passion in me that is slowly breaking free. And now, tonight, it will be felt by everyone, especially her. Tonight is the night I reclaim my domain. There is a flurry of rings at the door. I look out to greet the room and see Tommy there, anxious to meet the first arrivals. They open the door with the usual gestures. They do all the same nuances that seem lost on me. I'm not much for entertaining people exactly. It doesn't come natural to me. I walk to the top of the stairs. She didn't look up. She probably wouldn't notice me if she did. The children cheer and wave as I come down. I wave back, eager to get through this charade. Soon enough, the party will be over. With efficiency, I took the party right out of her hands. I led the kids through musical chairs, pinned the tail on the black cat, a horror-themed telephone game, and every other horrible game she conjured up. I let them destroy every sweet concoction she set up for them. They will probably get ill from the amount of sugar I enticed them to eat. I did everything to get to this point, without hesitation. It feels like my moment is nearing. I am the ringmaster of this evening, and the kids are surely riled up. I think the time is now. The time is here. It's time for the finale. Time to tell my secret. Darkness is closing in. Say, Who's ready for a real fright? I flick the lights off. Now the only light that comes is from the faces of the pumpkins and the flashlight in my hand. I laugh in a whisper as I tiptoe to the basement door. Follow me into the zombie pit. The parents chuckle, the kids squeal, she sighs with agitation. Never one to indulge. I hold a flashlight at the top of the stairs, ushering them down. The children enter one by one into the darkness. My light doesn't help much. The children still run into the undead-themed props I placed in the staircase. Each time they let out a scream, I hiss and shout at them, urging them to keep moving. This is terrifyingly splendid. The parents continue to chuckle and enter after the children. I have to coax some. The rest go in willingly with some nervous laughter. Well, except her. She went, but only begrudgingly so. She has no idea of the secret I have planned. Perhaps she should move with some urgency. Tommy and I stand at the top. He wanted to see it all, to be last. He smiles up at me with his undead clown face. I see a hint of darkness showing up in his eyes. Maybe he is like me. Maybe Paul would have been proud. Well, shall we? He nods. I grab his hand and lead him down the stairs with the flashlight in front. Together, as one, into the cold, dark basement. I enter the room. Everybody is nervously waiting. The flashlight reflects on all of the pupils that stare back at it. After some time, I turn the flashlight off, and their responding screams bounce against the cold basement walls. Now stay quiet. The rest of the evening will take place in the dark. It's so cold. I hear a child scamper under the basement stairs. Mist lowly crescendos to a light rain tapping against the basement windows. The smell of the damp cement and the howl of the cold autumn night set the perfect atmosphere for this moment. Everyone settles into the darkness. Did you know that we used to keep a zombie down here? It's true. Things got out of hand, though. We had to end his residency. The zombie's dead now, the kids gasped. And here's the knife that took his life. I pass the knife to the line of kids with chuckles, and they cry as they pass it amongst themselves. From me to the end, to her, the knife makes its way. I guess she wanted to be as far from me as possible. No surprise there. He meant us harm, and here is his arm. Some little brat pipes up claiming that he knows it's all fake. Hush! Don't spoil the fun. It took a lot of cuts, but here's his guts. The items are being passed around like hot potatoes. The children are all too eager to be frightened. The zombie was cut apart, and this is her heart. From hand to hand, scream after scream, the items pass around. 6 or 7 of them move through the crowd now. It's time. The zombie is dead, and as proof, here is its head. I pass it off to the first child. They nearly drop it. It was a bit heavier than the rest. You could hear a particularly startled reaction when they regained their grip on it. How splendid. She must think that was Tommy screaming. She speaks out to comfort him. He didn't say anything in response. But I know he's not afraid. Not anymore. The passing, the screams, it's perfect. One boy says in disgust, "That bit feels like real skin," and swears it has eyes. The cool October wind rattles against the windows. The rain flows heavily. Some other kid gasps as the head is passed to them. I hear her call out to Tommy again. Nothing. She tries again with more emphasis in her voice. He doesn't answer. The items are still being circled. She asks for the lights to be turned on. No. Don't turn them on. Don't turn on the lights. We're almost done. Just a bit longer. The items continue to be passed down the line. The last item makes its way to her. The room falls quiet. A flicker of lightning fills the room for a moment. She loses it. She lets out a visceral response. The entire room freezes in response. The wind blows harshly against the house, rattling the windows. The smell of apples and pumpkins swirl in the air, mixing harshly with the dense smell of the cold, wet basement. She yells, demanding to see her son. Some kids run upstairs. We hear him shouting around in the dark, trying to find Tommy. He's not going to find him up there. She still doesn't understand just what exactly she's holding. I grow impatient. I aim the flashlight down at her and turn it on. Everyone is shocked. Our guests grab their children to shield them from the horror. Many of them leave. I hold the flashlight on her and what she holds in her lap. She looks into her hands, shaking. In her hands, she's holding a small head with a zombie mask and a poofy clown wig. Her same light hair, her same almost blue eyes. The face blankly stares back at her. She is frozen. I laugh. I feel my cheeks dimple up again. I did it. She feels the pain. Now I can fix my marriage, and we will always remember October fondly, in Pa's honor. I watch everyone flee up the stairs. I catch a set of dark eyes watching from under them. As it turns out, zombie clowns have dimples too. Laughter really is the best medicine, if it doesn't kill you first.